we're talking about is the most likely trainers based on their barn and success so far with this crop to win next year's Derby. I've got 4 of them. We're going to start with Chad Brown here, who was a little bit quiet throughout the summer, but on our Breakfast of the Breeders' Cup show, Chad gave us some insight and said that there was a little bit of a bug going around the barn. Just like in elementary school, one kid gets sick, before you know it, 5 or 6 kids are sick, and that's kind of what happened here to the barn. So he said this is a barn that will come around with time, and Paladin is the horse to be at the top of that trail. I like this win in the Remsen, and what I like about it was the horse had to pump the brakes in the turn, angle out, and still goes on past Renegade, who's a talented horse for Todd Pletcher. They're right in between. We've drawn the Sierra Leone comparisons. Both horses were $2 million. Both Sierra Leone and Paladin are by Gunrunner. Both for Chad Brown. Both for Flavien Prat. Both started out at Aqueduct. I mean, there's too many similarities. And if you look at the average buyer of Paladin for the first 2, up to the average buyer for Sierra Leone for the first 2, Paladin, believe it or not, is 5 points ahead of Sierra Leone and has more early speed. So other than Paladin, Chad Brown has a horse named Rebel Instinct by Into Mischief. Those are his top 2 right now, but Paladin could be leading the trail in the barn, looking to spring forward into next year. All right, number 3, maybe a bit surprising that he's not 1 or 2, Bob Baffert. Now, if you ask Bob honestly right now, I'd say he's probably a tiny bit disappointed with where his horses are at. They didn't get the win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Brant kind of succumbed to the distance, but I do think that once Brant hits the old reset button, comes back in probably February, airs out for 103 buyer, gets away from Ted Noffey, then everybody's going to be excited for this $3 million gray once again. Now, there is a great argument that this horse has more speed than stamina, but Gunrunners are built to improve. And one thing I do like about Baffert in just the last couple days is that the Losail Futurity, Litmus Test, Blacksmith, those horses look like they could be nice contenders into next year. We heard the stats for Baffert going into Del Mar. He had 24 2-year-old colts for $18 million. So put them all together, his average is $750,000 for all of his Derby hopefuls for next year. Brant, let's see what he does. Going to hit the reset button into next year. All right, number 2. This is the guy I think has the deepest barn right now. The starting lineup and the bench for Brad Cox is looking quite nice, including the top star, Further Ado. And look, I've been at Keeneland for 15 years. I've never seen a horse at Keeneland win by 20 lengths. And Forever Ado popped a 20-length maiden score. He was up 10 in the stretch, then was up 20 at the wire. So this was the race after that romper at Keeneland. He was wide, still grinds away to get the score over Soldier and Diplomat, who had the lead here late. And he's a gun runner that keeps on coming at you. He was actually the second favorite in the win pool behind the Eclipse champion, soon to be. So he got a lot of money in the futures. The buyer here wasn't great. You know, he got a big old 90-plus buyer in the maiden score. He got a low 80 there, which I think has to be better than that low 80. He was wide, and the buyers don't take into account. But other than Further Ado, Brad Cox had 6 entrants on the Derby future. Horses like Confessional and Commandment. Take a look at White Tiger on debut. He finishes second, but White Tiger, in my mind, had one of the most impressive gallop outs past the wire. He could be liking more distance, and I love the depth for the native of Louisville himself, Brad Cox. All right, number 1. Now, the Todd Squad. I don't think that he has the deepest lineup. I think that's Brad Cox. But he's got the man to beat. He's got Ted Noffey, the Into Mischief, who I'm telling you has made no mistakes in any of his races. Horse breaks perfectly. He stalks perfectly. He switches leads on cue. He runs on a dead straight line. He answers all challenges inside and outside. He's got stamina, with speed, with class, with a great mind. And oh, by the way, his stallion won this year's Kentucky Derby with Sovereignty. So Ted Noffey, he is the leader of the Todd Squad. Other than that, though, he had 2 horses Todd in the Remsen. Renegade, solid second. Courting, expensive horse, finished 4th. But I do think that Todd is definitely banking on Ted Noffey to be the leader of his trail going into next year. Dubsy looking for his 3rd Kentucky Derby victory.